It's a new day in the crypto space, and it's yet again another day where Ripple is being showcased as one of the best to ever do it in the crypto space. We have here from Casey Craddock from Ripple. We won at last week's Pay 360 Awards organized by the Payments Association. Ripple was victorious in the best initiative with digital currencies or assets category. This award underscores the real-world utility of digital asset-enabled cross-border payments and is a huge endorsement of the work we are doing to advance the technology in the UK, Europe, and around the world. Thanks to our clients, partners, and industry peers, including category sponsor Thunes Payments, all of whom have helped us get to where we are today. A massive shout out to my superb colleagues in the UK and Europe who are working tirelessly to build the future of finance. This recognition is for you. And yeah, listen, when we think about what's happening around Ripple, they are being showcased constantly. Because again, what Ripple is offering and the technology stack that they have built over the last 10 plus years is unlike any other, right? This is why I keep saying that Ripple is so many years ahead of all of these big players. Recently, everyone's talking about Swift and what Swift is doing because, Swift is going to kill Ripple and XRP, right? No. When it comes to these big players, they are so many steps behind Ripple because they have been working in this space for well over a decade. They've been building out their tech stack, and it's very clear when we are seeing Ripple continuously winning these awards at these major organizations. From these major organizations. So when we think about what's happening here, Ripple is on a completely different level. And this is only going to continue to show more and more and more as time goes on because, again, a lot of these big players, even Swift, are trying to play catch up. Now, on top of that, one of the biggest things that we witnessed this year was the adoption around crypto and the institutional focus around crypto really heating up. And this got to the point where we are looking at this space and we're saying, interesting. If we're starting to see institutional players diving on in, doesn't it make sense for a lot of these big players like Ripple to possibly become a bank? Because again, for years we speculated on Ripple essentially becoming a big bank, and even a few players from the space like Telcoin, for an example, already have a few steps ahead of some of the other players trying to do so because, again, Telcoin was trying to become a digital asset bank since going all the way back to like 2019, 2020, and they just got approved in Nebraska. But when it comes to Ripple, we also know that there's a few moves being made right now in order for them to get their banking license. Now, Ripple's not the only one because we just got a big update on the 4th of October from Brian Armstrong from Coinbase. We've prioritized regulatory compliance and customer trust from the day we started Coinbase. A national trust company charter is the logical next step that will help us unlock new innovations to integrate crypto and traditional finance. Now, over here, sorry to interrupt the video, but gold just made a new all-time high yesterday. And if you want to catch the waves in both the precious metals market as well as the crypto market, ITrustCapital is your best friend. They offer both crypto and gold and silver trading, but that's not it. If you also want to tap into the IRA side of ITrustCapital to make sure that you are including both crypto and precious metals in your portfolio, you could do that. And also, premium custody accounts include both as well. So if you want to go and tap into this, you guys are more than welcome to in the description down below, as well as in the comments down below, utilizing my link where you deposit $1,000 and you get a free exclusive $100 funding bonus right now. So what are you waiting for? Sign up today. And with that being said, let's dive on back into the video. We have from Coinbase directly, the crypto market is global and we need uniform national rules to protect every consumer as the market continues to evolve. That's why we've applied for a US OCC National Trust Charter and the federal regulatory oversight and clarity that it provides. So yeah, this is definitely a big one and it showcases where we are at right now in this current phase of crypto. We are starting to see the major crypto companies that we have been watching for years start to become major significant players in the traditional financial space. These national trust charter license, they're not just licenses that, all right, yeah, they're going to have this license and that's going to, just be it. No, This is a way for these big players like Coinbase, Ripple, Circle, etc. to start to move into the traditional system. It's a way for them to start to become integrated and also have ties back to, for an example, the Fed. We know this is true with Ripple with RLUSD, but also it gives that trust that these players need in order to reach mass institutional grade adoption. Because again, trust is everything. Now, we also got an update from Brian Armstrong, because why are they doing this at this time? Well, it's because of the progress being made around regulations. Feeling very bullish on regulatory progress for crypto in the US. Clear rules are coming. This helps builders and innovators. We won't stop until it happens. Check this out.
There's now one more piece of legislation that, as you said, got bipartisan support in the House already and now is being debated in the Senate. And this is what we call market structure legislation, which just simply means it's covering all of the non-stablecoin crypto assets, things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And it's resolving some of these outstanding issues from the last administration that got weaponized by people like Gary Gensler trying to go after the crypto industry because it wasn't clear, were these a commodity, were they a security? So this legislation is making great progress. I've never been more bullish on the chances to get it passed into law. This freight train has left the station, and there's people on both sides of the aisle in the Senate that are eager to get this legislation put on the books. Now, this hasn't stopped the big bank lobby from coming in trying to throw a wrench into things. They actually want to go in and ban rewards on stablecoins, and that was already settled in the prior Genius Act that I just mentioned. But I'm not too worried about it. The senators we spoke to aren't really going to entertain reopening that issue, and so hopefully this legislation gets passed into law very soon. There's now one more piece of legislation.
So yeah, I mean, listen, this is the last major step before crypto becomes fully regulated. And this is going to essentially change everything, in my opinion, around this space. This is going to officially give this market the clarity it needs in order to expand, be integrated, and be utilized at scale by the biggest TradFi giants, retail in mass. I mean, this is where everything really begins around crypto. Everything up until this point and before we see regulations was just a starting point. The race didn't even begin. After this, it does. Now, when we think about that, we think about these major trust charter licenses. Circle also applied for this. This was back on July 1st. Circle aims to become a U.S. trust bank. Fresh off its $18 billion IPO, Circle has filed to establish a national trust bank, allowing it to manage reserves and offer custody services. If approved, it'll be just the second crypto firm with a federal charter. Now, on top of that, we know Paxos was also going for this. Paxos is going national. The crypto firm behind PayPal's PYUSD is applying for a U.S. trust bank license, with the OCC joining Circle and Ripple in the race. Applying for OCC Trust Bank license would convert New York charter to federal, follows $48.5 million New York settlement as well. Now, if we go back to what Brad Garlinghouse said, because this was on July 2nd, true to our long-standing compliance roots, Ripple's applying for a national bank charter from the OCC. If approved, we would have both state and federal oversight, a new and unique benchmark for trust in the stablecoin market. Now, the main thing that we are looking at here isn't just that national bank charter from the OCC. We also know that they applied for a Fed master account. We also know that they have been working with regulators, and also all of these players, when it comes to Ripple, Coinbase, Circle, these players have been in major private meetings this entire year with significant names like the CFTC, the SEC, even the Trump administration. It's kind of crazy, but it feels as though a lot of these players that are applying for a national bank charter from the OCC are directly tied back to each other in these major meetings, which involve talking about the future financial system around the US. It feels as though these are the players that are building out core infrastructure layers for this new system. Now, yes, there's a few other ones that could definitely be tossed into that list that are not applying for a national bank charter, like, for an example, Stellar, Hedera, Algorand, etc. But the main thing that we are focused on here is how mature and how legitimate this space is now becoming because of these players now applying for this national bank charter and also building towards that point where we have these big players like Ripple essentially becoming a bank. And we have over here from John at Squire, breaking: Ripple will be the biggest bank of all time. Ripple's National Trust Bank filing with the US OCC hits its 120-day review deadline on the 28th of this month. That internal filing letter started the countdown, and now the clock runs out. Now, I have been seeing a lot of people speculating on if this is going to get approved by the end of this month. Because again, we have the update here from October 5th. The OCC opens public review of Ripple's National Trust Bank application as well. The Office of the Comptroller of Currency has released key portions of Ripple's July 2nd, 2025 application to establish Ripple National Trust Bank focused on digital asset custody, payments, and stablecoin issuance via the XRP ledger. The proposed charter would grant access to Federal Reserve systems while restricting operations to fiduciary activities, with the review process inviting stakeholder comments and potentially concluding by late October 2025. Crypto supporters hail the development as a boost for XRP, while groups like the National Community Reinvestment Coalition and Independent Community Bankers of America raise concerns over risk to financial inclusion and smaller banks. Now, again, a lot of people have been taking this application itself as, open for public review, essentially saying, all right, well, that's it. It's confirmed Ripple will be a bank by the end of the month. I hate a lot of these accounts that are just engagement farming this. It's not like massive news or anything like that. Sure, it's great to see them releasing this. However, I don't know if we are going to see this application get approved or denied by the end of this month. And the reason why I say that is because the government is still shut down. And the OCC is tied back to this, as well as a few of the big players tied back to a lot of these applications as well to review them. So it's questionable on if that's going to get delayed or not. But what I find very interesting about all of these timeframes and a lot of these, deadlines is it directly aligns with even the XRP ETF trackers, right? Almost all of the major decisions here are around the end of October as well. I recently talked about how this could essentially be the biggest month for XRP, and I still think that that is true. I think that this could be one of the biggest months for XRP, not just basing it off of like the OCC deal, or even like the ETF situation, but mainly because I feel as though crypto is going to heat up in a big way, which so far already has started to do so. But I think that this is only going to continue as the year goes on, because again, we are getting closer to November and December, which are typically the best months of the year for crypto. Outside of that, it's like basically like the beginning of the year. But I just kind of feel as though quarter four is going to be extremely bullish for the entire space. And we have these ETFs around altcoins waiting to get approved. If we see any of them get approved, it's going to be huge, and it's going to be a massive catalyst for altcoin season, which could definitely, allow XRP to be trading significantly higher by the end of the year. So I'm very bullish on this. If we do see the government reopen before the end of the month, then yeah, I do think that there's a good chance that we possibly get this, this application reviewed and we get a decision on it as well. What's the chances that Ripple gets approval? Well, I think that they are pretty high. I mean, Ripple has always been fully focused on security, compliance, working with regulators. So I don't really see anything stopping Ripple from getting this license. It would be huge for Ripple. It would be a huge catalyst as well for even XRP, because again, it will open the door for a lot of speculation, a lot of hype. Mainstream media will be talking about it as well. So, we definitely are focused on this in a big way. And towards the end of this month, with all of these major applications and all of these huge decisions looming. So yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see what happens. But I'm very bullish going towards the end of this year, just on XRP's price action alone, not even just looking at some of these decisions. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, notifications on, because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.